A lot of times when I talk to people, they say stuff when I'm like, hey, what's your New Year's resolutions for next year? They're like, I want to lose weight. But I guarantee that if you lost 1 pound next year, you probably wouldn't be satisfied, right? That wouldn't be the goal that you wanted. But you said you wanted to lose weight. So if you lost 1 pound, that would be actually achieving your goals. Today, we're actually going to be talking about the step-by-step process to setting and achieving your goals. Now, this is separate from my ebook. I actually don't cover this in my ebook. And this is the step-by-step process that I've been using now for almost 20 years to figure out what my goals are, to write them down, to put them down, and to actually start to, I guess you could say, brainwash them into myself and my subconscious into actually going for them. And I usually do this podcast episode. I think we're probably at about 5 or 6 years now where I've done it every single year right around this point in time, because I know most people are about to set their New Year's resolutions. They want to start thinking about what next year could be for them. And so we're going to go through the step-by-step process. I stole this, just so you know, from the book Think and Grow Rich, which is one of my favorite books ever. And he has the 6 steps to hit any goal. And then I have a 7th step that I always add whenever I'm working through this. So let's just go straight into it, okay? Step number 1, in order to achieve your goals, is you want to fix your mind on exactly what it is that you want. He says it is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money, but to be as definitive as you possibly can with your amount. And so in the book, Think and Grow Rich, he always just talks about money and how to become rich, obviously. But you can take this and you can use it in your own life. The key to step number 1 is to become very, very clear on exactly what it is that you want. A lot of times when I talk to people, they say stuff when I'm like, hey, what's your New Year's resolutions for next year? They're like, I want to lose weight. But I guarantee that if you lost 1 pound next year, you probably wouldn't be satisfied, right? That wouldn't be the goal that you wanted. But you said you wanted to lose weight. So if you lost 1 pound, that would be actually achieving your goals. And so instead of saying, I want to lose weight, you want to say like, hey, I want to be, and make it as clear as you possibly can. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to weigh 185 pounds, and I want to be at 11% body fat. Well, that's much better than lose some weight. What if you say like, I want to save money? Okay, well, if you save $1 next year, you just accomplished your goal. But what you would say is something like, I want to save $6,000, which means that I need to save $500 a month in order to achieve that goal. Well, that ends up being a whole lot better, right? So the first part of it is to be very, very clear, very specific on exactly what it is that you want. So that's step number 1, okay? Step number 2, and this is probably my favorite one of all of them because this is not what most people think about when they're trying to set their goals. But step number 2 is to determine exactly what you intend to give up in return for hitting your goals. So if I want to do this thing, I'm going to have to give something else up. It's kind of like the phrase when you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Like if you're saying yes to being a morning person, you're saying no to the snooze. You're saying no to staying out late with your friends. You're saying no to, not to staying on Instagram until right before you go to bed. Like there's things that you need to give up. There's things you need to say no to when you're saying yes to something else. And so you need to figure out what exactly you're going to give up in order to get there. And don't worry, I'll give you some examples of exactly what some of these would look like. So that's the second thing, is you want to determine exactly what you intend to give up in order to do that. If you want to lose weight, you're going to have to give up Skittles. You're going to have to give up beer. You're going to have to give up greasy food. There's a lot of things you're going to have to give up in order to achieve your goal. So that's number 2. What do you intend to give up in order to hit that goal? Number 3, quite easy. Figure out and he says, establish a definite date when you intend to hit your goal. So a goal without a deadline is just a dream. So what is the exact date that you're going to hit your goal by? For some of you, if you're setting your New Year's resolutions, it's December 31st. But for some of you, you might have a goal by second quarter next year where you want to be at $500,000 in revenue. Okay, well, great. That means that you need to have it hit by, what would that be, July 1st, right? So that's what you're looking at. What is the actual date that you're going to get hit by? For me, I know that when in 2017, when my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, when I wanted to go and travel, like my New Year's resolution, my number 1 goal for the year that I was just dead set on was to be able to be living in Italy by July 1st. And so it was July 1st, 2017 was everywhere. That was the goal I was going for. And so that was the goal that I set for myself. So for you, what is the exact goal? Maybe you want to run a marathon, but you want to run that marathon by April. Okay, by April 25th, I will be physically fit enough to run a marathon. So establish a definite date that you're going to be hitting it by. Number 4, now we're going to start really getting into the nitty gritty. And this is where my ebook that I wrote for you at goals2025.com will actually be much more clear for you, is to create a definite plan for how you are going to carry out hitting these goals. And the key to it, and he says in the book, is to begin at once. Whether you're ready or not, put this plan into action. And so if you set it today, and it's, let's say you're listening to this on December 1st, well, then you're just going to start your New Year's resolution right now. What do you need to do to get there? Give yourself an extra month. Don't you think it's better off to have 13 months for the year instead of 12? So if you start December 1st, you basically have an extra month that nobody else has, right? So create a definite plan. What do you need to do? If you're going to, lose that weight, well, then what is your workout plan going to look like? If you're going to lose that weight, what is your new health routine going to look like? If you're going to, be tracking your calories, one of the great things, like years ago, I used to hate when I would track my calories and my macros because I have to put every single thing in. Now with AI, there's apps where you can just take a picture of food and it logs the whole thing for you because it uses AI. It's well, that's much easier. So it's maybe I'm going to download one of those AI things. I'm going to work at this many times per week. This is what my nutrition is going to look like. And I'm going to do meal prepping every single Sunday. Cool. That's a much better plan. So you want to come up with the most clear, concise, definite plan that you can of how exactly you're going to hit your goals. The next one, number 5, and this is one of my favorite parts of this as well, is to write out a clear, concise statement on exactly how you intend to hit your goal. You're going to summarize number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the point of this is to come up with a clear and concise statement. So when I say that, I'm talking less than 10 sentences is probably pretty good. If you can do 5, 6 sentences, even better. The idea is clear and concise because some people just beat around the bush. They don't really get to the point. It's I want to be able to see this and to put this thing everywhere. I want to put it as the background of my phone. I want to take a picture of it and put it on my phone. I want to print it out and I want to put this thing on my mirror so I see it every single time I'm brushing my teeth and I can read through it. So you're going to want to have a clear and concise statement. I'm going to put it in my journal. I'm going to put it in my planner, everything. And number 6, what you're going to do is you're going to read your statement out loud to yourself twice a day. This is the key to kind of brainwashing yourself with it. So you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to brush your teeth, and there's this thing called habit stacking. Habit stacking means that you take a habit that you're already doing every single day, and you're going to take the new habit that you want to actually start to get, kind of neurologically ingrained into you, and you're going to stack it on top of the other one. So, like I said a few minutes ago, you hopefully brush your teeth every single morning and every single evening. And so what I would do is if I'm going to read this statement out loud to myself twice a day, well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in the morning. As soon as I get done brushing my teeth, I'm going to read it out loud. So as soon as I get done brushing my teeth, and then as soon as I get done brushing my teeth in the evening, and I'm going to read it to myself at least twice a day. If I can read it to myself every hour, even better. 5 times a day, 10 times a day, whatever it is that it might be. So you want to read it, and you also want to see it in your mind's eye with as much clarity as you possibly can. What would it look like in order for me to achieve this goal? What would it feel like in order for me to achieve this goal? How proud of myself would I be when I hit this goal? What would everyone else say around me? How would I celebrate it? And I want to try to see it in my mind's eye. I want to feel it. I want to experience it at least twice a day. And so those are the 6 steps. And then I'm going to give you some examples in just a minute. The 7th step, which is the one that I add in, and I've done this since, I really started working with one-on-one clients years and years ago, is anytime I had my clients set a goal for themselves, we go through this entire thing. And then what I would say to them, okay, now that we've planned out this entire thing, how can you make it easier to achieve this goal? Because a lot of times we think that achieving success needs to be a struggle. It needs to be hard. It needs to be a grind. And we need to white knuckle our ways to doing it. But if you ask yourself the question, how can I make it easier on myself? what you do is you start planning on how to make it a little bit more effortless and not as much of a struggle. So the question is, how can I make it easier on myself? And you're going to start to plan that out. Okay. So let me give you an example of a few different ways that this would look. Okay. Let's say that you're the type of person where you're going to use the weight example. You're wanting to lose weight. You're going to say, okay, my goal is I want to do 185 pounds and I want to be there by December 31st, the end of this year. And this is what it's going to be. So I'm going to say, I, Rob Dial, intend to lose 10 pounds, get to 11% body fat, and be at 185 pounds by December 31st of this year. How I'm going to do it is I intend to give up candy, soda, and alcohol for the entire year. I will work out a minimum of 4 times a week. I will do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And in order to do that, I'm going to meal prep every single Sunday for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I'm going to meal prep for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then therefore, I've got a plan of exactly how I'm going to do it. Now, all I have to do is just follow through on that plan. Much more clear. Okay, cool. Let's say that you're in sales and your goal this year is to make $250,000. So you're going to say, okay, my goal is I want to make $250,000 this year by December 31st. I will give up texting and all social media while I'm at work. I will limit my conversation with coworkers so that I can make sure that I am not distracting myself when I should be making phone calls. And according to my stats, if I make 100 calls every single day, Monday through Friday, I should hit my goals. So I will make 100 calls every single day that I am in work, Monday through Friday, no matter what. And I will follow up with all of my hot leads and potential clients or the clients that I'm nurturing every Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Boom. That seems like a much better goal than I want to make $250,000 this year, right? Let's say that you don't want to make a whole bunch of money. Let's say you don't want to lose weight. Let's say everything's pretty good, but you just want to have more peace in your life. You want to have less anxiety. So you're like, okay, I will no longer have anxiety by, let's say you don't want to wait till December 31st. I will no longer have anxiety by July 1st of this year. I will give up all forms of caffeine because caffeine, I'm starting to realize, is making me anxious. I will give up all of the relationships in my life that bring me stress. I will do breath work and meditation for 10 minutes every single morning. Then after that, what I will do is I will use my gratitude journal to focus on what I'm grateful for every single morning. I will set reminders inside of my phone to take 6 deep conscious breaths every single hour so that I can focus on not being so in the world and so in my head and in my go, but I'm going to take a step back and get back into my body and being present. And I will replace every negative thought that I have with a positive one as soon as they pop up. So as soon as a negative thought pops up, I'm going to replace it with a positive one. And so then what I'm doing is I'm actually coming up with a plan. I'm figuring out what I intend to give up. I'm going to figure out when I intend to hit it by. And this is step by step what I'm going to do in order to get there. Now, you have to understand, you can't just think that this is what's going to help you succeed though. The biggest piece of you succeeding at hitting your goals is you have to take action. You have to get yourself out of your comfort zone. You start looking at, how do I typically hold myself back? And you start making a plan that whenever you start to typically hold yourself back, or you notice that you start talking down to yourself, being negative to yourself. How can I make a plan whenever I notice myself talking negative? How can I make a plan wherever I notice that, I'm the type of person that wants to stay inside of their comfort zone? Whenever I try to stay inside of my bed, whatever it is there might be. And what you want to do is you want to plan ahead of what it is that you want to do, but you also want to plan ahead for like SOS. Shit hits the fan, because at every moment, every time you hit a goal, there's always some possibility of shit hitting the fan. So I know how I typically screw up. I know how I typically get myself off track. So I'm going to plan ahead right now that when I do fall off track, because I know I will hold myself back in some way, I'm going to ask myself, how do I typically hold myself back? And how do I typically get in my own way when I'm working towards my goals? And how can I avoid and come up with a plan right now to make sure that I don't? How can I be accountable to that? Hold myself accountable. Is there a community that I need to get myself in? Do I need to change my environment? Do I need to meditate more and brainwash myself into believing that it's possible? And you start getting really, really clear on what it is that you want. And you start following this process step by step, and you do it every single morning and every single evening, and it just makes hitting your goals so much easier. So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please share it on your Instagram stories. Tag me at Rob Dial Jr., ROBDIALJR. Once again, if you want to download my free ebook that goes even deeper past all of this of how to set, plan, and achieve your goals, you can get it at goals2025.com. And with that, I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make somebody else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.